We are about to jump into Cancer season 2025, and this one hits different. Jupiter entered Cancer a couple of weeks ago, and if you don't know, Jupiter is exalted in this sign, so this shift is really exciting anyway. But now we have Cancer season beginning, so everything, it's just like this really nice, let's fucking go. Let's really lean into this exalted Jupiterian energy. So think of this astro season as your permission slip to build your dream life, but from the inside out, from safety, from nourishment, from emotional security and stability. This particular Cancer season is supercharged by Jupiter, and it's encouraging us and asking us and supporting us in glowing up, but from softness. So if you're ready to cry and cleanse and glow and completely change your direction, let's fucking go. So Cancer is the divine mother of the zodiac. You know, she's nurturing, she's emotionally intelligent, but this mustn't be mistaken for weakness. She's fucking powerful, but she's not loud about it. She's not flashy, but she's deeply magnetic. You know, she creates life, she detects it, she knows when something is off without a single word being spoken. She's deeply, deeply intuitive. And now add in Jupiter, we're talking about expanding our intuition. We're talking about leaning into it and encouraging it. And I think for so many people, because I think especially as women, because we're sort of socialized to give and give and give and give, which, you know, is part of Cancerian energy. It's nurturing. It loves to take care of people. But I think Cancer also knows when it's time to stop that. Cancer knows, no, this is not someone that I need to be pouring into. But as a society, I think we socialize women to keep pouring in when really we should have cut the cord. And in order to be able to keep pouring into people that we shouldn't be, we do have to silence our intuition, because our intuition is absolutely screaming at us, telling us, get out of this. And so when you ignore that for so long, when you shut it off in order to stay in a situation that isn't serving you, we disconnect from that intuition. So this season, especially with Jupiter there, it's a real invitation to lean back into that connection with our intuition, reignite that connection with our intuition. It's also a real encouragement of growing our sense of emotional security, looking at what we need to feel safe. And I think taking radical responsibility for that feeling of safety. That might mean that you have to leave certain situations, but also it might mean that you are expecting and wanting things from external sources where actually we need to learn to give that to ourselves. So again, it's this balance. It's this, radical honesty of actually, is this a me problem? Am I the problem in this? And then shifting accordingly. So this is a season for getting real about your emotional needs. It's a season for reconnecting with your inner child, doing inner child work, but then also not letting them run the show, connecting with your inner child, seeing what they needed and didn't get, but then also stepping into the parental role and reparenting your inner child. There can be this tendency of doing inner child work and then getting stuck in this immaturity, but I don't want to do that kind of thing. And we don't want that either. So it's about connecting with our inner child, giving them what they need, but also coming from the place of, I am the adult in this relationship. I am the parent in this dynamic with ourselves, and leaning into that as well. And then I also think this is a season for looking at where we are hyper independent and letting go of that. You know, asking, where do I need softness? Where do I need support? And where do I need space to just feel? It's a season for coming back to your body and your rhythms and your flows. Like Cancer is ruled by the moon. So I think it's a beautiful thing to do, to look to the moon and reconnect with cyclical living, but also understanding that everything is a phase and this too shall pass. And I really feel called to say this, and I say it with love always. When it comes to feeling safe within our bodies, feeling safe with ourselves, we need the reality check that you can't feel safe without doing the shitty shadow work, without diving into the dark and the icky shit, in order to reveal why you don't feel safe in the first place. You know, Cancer wants comfort and safety and all the lovely, cozy vibes. But in order to get to that place, you have to do the shadow work to understand why you don't feel safe in the first place. You know, the shadow work, it shows the overgiving. It shows the root of the fear. It shows the survival mode. And it shows the stories. You know, it's how you meet the parts of yourself that you let go of a long time ago, that you shoved down and suppressed, the too emotional, the too needy, the too chaotic parts. It's looking at them, it's giving them space, it's learning to love them as well. So this season isn't just about bubble baths and all that lovely surface level self-care. It's about crying in the bath after a massive realization when you've done the deep shadow work, when you've confronted your abandonment wound, for example. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that were never too much, just too powerful for the people around you. Cancer is beautiful, it's nurturing, it's motherly energy, but also the shadow is real. You know, it's overgiving to earn love. It's emotional manipulation. It's clinging to the past. It's moodiness. One of the shadows of Cancer is intense moodiness, but also avoidance disguised as comfort. So I think to kick off this video, a nice little journal prompt would be, where do I need to feel emotionally safe? And what shadow is stopping me from letting myself feel that? Okay, so now let's dive into some of the transits that are happening during Cancer season. So Cancer season officially begins on the 21st of June. I love it when things line up. This is also the solstice. This is fresh start vibes. Every start of an astrological season is fresh start vibes, but I love this as well, because it's like this reminder that we can either be like, oh my God, where the fuck has half the year gone? I've achieved nothing. Or it can be, I've got half the year left. What am I going to do for the rest of 2025? How am I going to shift things? And so it's an extra, I feel like everything is just extra exciting this Cancer season. So yeah, Cancer season really invites us to build our home base, basically, inside and out. Get your sanctuary feeling perfect for you, but also get your inner world feeling supportive and, yeah, connect to that. You know, cleanse your space, cook nourishing meals, let your home, your body, your environment, and your soul become your sacred container. Really nurture yourself. As I've touched on, see what you are lacking, as in, where do I feel like I'm not getting the love that I want? Where do I feel like I'm not getting the support that I want? And look at yourself, see where you can give that to yourself, but also understand that we can outsource. It's just knowing, is this a healthy outsourcing, or is this me looking for external validation? It's that kind of foundation that we want to really focus on building this season. So then I've mentioned Jupiter in Cancer. That happened a couple of weeks ago. But on the 24th, the Sun is going to be conjunct Jupiter. That is such potent energy. It's big golden energy. This is your emotional expansion moment. You know, this is our encouragement to dream big, not from the hustle, not from the grind, but from the heart. It's understanding your magnetism, understanding that when we pour into ourselves, we show the universe and others how to treat us. It's that kind of encouragement. So yeah, it's an invitation to ask for what you want and trust and know that you will receive it. And then lean back in that trust and that knowing. And then on the 25th of June, we have the new moon in Cancer. Now every new moon is a great time to set intentions. Every new moon is a great time to lean into what you're wanting to manifest. But this one, especially because of all the energy that we have spoken about thus far, but also because Cancer is ruled by the moon. This is really, it's dripping in divine feminine energy. So let yourself set intentions around safety and softness and nourishing and nurturing yourself, around reconnecting with your intuition, around having this beautiful home physically, but also emotionally inside ourselves. You know, this is a really, I think, really lovely new moon to set up any altar that you have been thinking about. I've been thinking about a couple. You know, I talk all the time about leaning into your chart ruler and having an altar in your home where you work with that energy, where you embrace that energy. And I don't have that for myself. I have so many altars in my home, but I have yet to set one up for my chart ruler. And I am dual rulership, so I have two. And I know where they're going to go. I know what's going to go on them. It's just a matter of actually making them. So that is something that I will be doing around this new moon. It's also, I think, a beautiful time for ancestral connection. Maybe taking a minute to speak, to connect with your ancestors, or even the lessons that they want you to learn, the things that they want you to let go of, the cycle breaking as well. Just, connecting with your ancestors and any woundings, but also any gifts that they've given you. I'll be doing a deeper dive video into this new moon in the coming days, so watch out for that. So on the 26th of June, Mercury is then moving into Leo. Mercury has been in Cancer for a little while now, and as I'm sure you can gather from what we've said about Cancer so far, Mercury is this planet of communication, so it's been very we've been feeling a lot of things, whereas now this planet of communication is shifting from the more feeling to the doing. Words are louder and bolder and more dramatic, and it's not a bad thing. It's an exciting thing to really express ourselves fully. This is what Mercury in Leo really encourages us to do. Express ourselves with intention and unapologeticness, but again, because there's balance in everything, but in a considerate way for others. And just, I think, a little reminder, because this can be one of the shadows of Leo. Performance is cute, but truth is what is sexy. Truth is what will draw the right people to you. And yeah, I think just saying it with your fucking chest. Then on the 4th of July, we've got lots going on. So later in the season, Uranus is going to be leaving Taurus. And Uranus has been there for, I believe, about 7 years. So that's quite a big thing in its own, and we'll get to that. But just before this happens, on the 4th of July, Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is going to be conjunct Uranus, briefly. So it's sort of this one last surprise from the Taurus-Uranus era. You know, Venus rules love and beauty and money. Uranus is this planet of sudden change. So basically, this could be, anything could happen. Anything could shift. There could be final breakups. There could be sudden breakthroughs. Basically, sort of maybe unexpected liberation. And then a couple of hours later, Venus then enters Gemini. So this is, it's an encouragement of more like flirty, faster, curious energy. Love becomes a conversation kind of thing. Money becomes a bit more playful, which is exciting, but I think there should also be this, I don't think warning is the right word, but maybe a reminder it might not be the best time for big commitments. because Gemini in energy is so sort of, oh, I want this, oh, I want this, oh, ADHD vibes. It's what I like to link Gemini to. And then finally, the last thing that is happening on the 4th of July, Neptune goes retrograde in Aries. So this is a reminder to remove sort of spiritual filters, but I also think whenever a planet goes retrograde, it's an invitation to relook at areas that that planet sort of plays with. And Neptune can absolutely play with things like Neptune can absolutely play with things like disassociation. So I think it's an encouragement to relook at where in my life do I use things to disassociate? Where in my life do I put on rose-tinted glasses? Where in my life do I live more in the fantasy in an unhealthy way instead of looking and facing reality? And yeah, it's this reminder to sort of be like, who am I? Who am I when I remove the filters, when I'm not performing an identity? And what illusions about your independence are you ready to fuck off, basically? And then the 7th of July, Uranus shifts into Gemini, and it's going to be there for the next 7 years. So as I've said, Uranus is this planet of sudden change. So this is pretty huge. It's leaving sensible, steady Taurus and moving into quick, chaotic, curious Gemini. And so I think for these next 7 years, we can really expect like probably tech revolutions. I would think AI skyrocketing even more, communication overhauls. And I just think a total sort of rebirth in the way that we think about things. Gemini is very much connected to the mind, very much connected to communication. And then, yeah, Uranus is this planet of shifts and changes. So it's the mind reprogramming era. This is not stable. It's adaptable. So I think a nice invitation is to look at where Gemini falls in your chart and then see this is the area that I will have my personal revolution, and lean into that. Lean into the excitingness of that. So then on the 10th of July, we have the Capricorn full moon. Again, a full video will be coming on this. But it's a Capricorn Cancer axis, which is like your inner world versus your public life. You know, a deep release of perfectionism and performance and people pleasing and outdated definitions of success, basically. I think it's also a really beautiful time for releasing systems and structures that no longer suit you, that are no longer serving you. Then on the 13th of July, Saturn also goes retrograde in Aries, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and we'll have just had this full moon in Capricorn. The energy will still be there, and then it goes retrograde. And I think it's an even bigger invitation to reclaim your inner authority. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what is true. It's about doing what is actually going to move the needle and get you into alignment. I love Saturn. Saturn can be tough. Saturn can be brutal, but Saturn is always there for your best interest in the long run. So yeah, even more of this, like, where have you been disciplined in a way that doesn't actually serve you? Why are you being disciplined in a way that doesn't serve you? Is it because society says that's a way you should be disciplined? Is it because you get some kind of benefit, like praise from others for being too busy? It's one of the things that we love to say as a society. Oh, I've been so busy, and we applaud that. No. You get to choose what your priorities are. Honestly, when people reply to me like, I've been so busy, like wanting that praise for martyrdom, fuck off. No. That is something that I think Saturn retrograde is going to be there to like wake us up to and make us think about. Then on the 18th, Mercury joins the retrograde party in Leo. So this is, you know, I've said Mercury moving into Leo, it's really an encouragement to express yourself authentically and boldly and say it with your chest. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's like, okay, We need to look at how we are expressing and what we are expressing. It's an encouragement and an invitation to refine the way that we are communicating. And, old projects may resurface, past lovers may pop up. So Mercury retrograde, I really feel like, is a time to pause before action. Pause and think, actually, is this serving me? Actually, is this what is best for my alignment and my life path? And just be mindful of that. But I think the most important thing with this Mercury retrograde is what you're saying real? It's a time to check in with your voice. Is what you are communicating, is that actually true for you? Or are you just trying to sound confident? Are you just, again, are we performing for society or societal standards or the people in our lives? Are we performing authenticity because we have got benefit from this version in the past? And actually, is that still true for us? So those are all of the transits that are happening during Cancer season this year. I think there are a few things, as I've touched on, to really focus on this season. Make your nervous system the number one priority. Slow down enough to hear yourself. Let softness be a strategy. Reconnect to your roots, your body, your bloodline, your home, your family. And use discomfort as a sign that something is dissolving, something is shifting, so that you can, the true you, the authentic you, the you that has your back is coming through. And trust that with Jupiter in Cancer, this season you are just being expanded in all of the right ways, even if it doesn't feel that right way. So then if you're wondering how all of this applies to your life, take a look at your rising sign and then find where Cancer sits in your particular chart. And that will be the life area that all of this energy is really sort of playing with and connecting with and showing up with. Yeah, what part of your life is getting that sort of emotional glow up. I'll be breaking down all the 12 rising signs in the new moon video that I will be putting up soon. So make sure you're subscribed, because it's going to get a little bit more personal in that video. So that's all I have to say about this Cancer season. If you want to dive deeper, I do offer my AstroAlchemy readings, which are little dives into how this season is going to show up in your life and how you can best utilize this energy based on your personal chart. I do also create little booklets based on your rising sign, so it's not quite as personal. It's not looking at your particular planetary placements, but it is looking at the house that this season is lighting up. So if you want one of those, you can head to my Instagram, which is @FreyaChristia. And then, of course, if you are local, we will be celebrating the full moon at my feral full moon circle. As I say, this is a Capricorn full moon, so we'll be leaning into really sort of grounding, structured practices there. We're going to have a grounding yoga session with our guest facilitator, which is I'm ready for. And then, as always, if you want to do a full deep dive into your natal chart and how the cosmos can support you in growth and healing, book on for a general natal reading or one of my more tailored readings.